The silent killer, you're gonna be.
He's on camera. Scripting.
He had a knife on him.
I love you. Rest in peace, sweetie.
Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is.
You have no idea what disturbing things are lying around on the internet. From a website that openly broadcasts all your live CCTV footage to the whole world, to another one that haunts you after visiting, to people streaming the most heinous crimes, to other unsettling occurrences. Join us as we reveal the 6 most disturbing things on the internet. When people buy and install a CCTV camera, the goal is to keep themselves and their families safe. What many do not know is that the same surveillance cameras could be exposing them online. That's precisely what Insecam does. It's a website that streams surveillance cameras from all over the world. It is free of charge, and anyone can just visit the website to see your CCTV feeds. If you have cameras that are connected to the internet, millions of people might be looking at your feed right now without your authorization. I know you're wondering how that's legal, but here's the catch. For the website to get access to your feeds, your cameras are either not password protected or you're still using the default password. Surveillance systems have a default password that comes with them from the manufacturers. During initial installation, you're advised to change the original password to a unique one only you know. Many people are in a hurry during these installations and end up just leaving the company password in place or opting for no password at all. If you do that, you've given Insecam the chance to get your feeds and publish them online. Apparently, those default passwords can be accessed easily, and it's all a website like Insecam needs to get their hands on your feeds. If you change your password, Insecam stops getting access to your feeds, unless they find a way to hack the password. However, in that case, it would be a crime. So, why is it not a crime already? Some people actually leave the default password on their cameras intentionally, while others leave it unprotected. That's because they want the feeds to be available on Insecam. And that's because it provides an easy way for them to check the footage, whether they're monitoring pets or securing their property. They can just get on Insecam, locate their cameras, and check the feeds from anywhere in the world. The feeds can help you locate places or missing persons. They can also come in handy for checking busy roads before traveling or the state of your destinations before embarking on a journey. For instance, you can see how busy a park or beach is before leaving your home. However, there are also feeds from places that should be private, like a home or office. It's also reasonably easy to locate any camera. You can search by manufacturer, country, place, city, or time zone. You could also check the most popular feeds or the newest ones. Like we stated earlier, the guys at Insecam are not hacking passwords or getting them through other illegal means. According to the homepage of Insecam, they only feature filtered feeds. This means they'll manually remove any camera showing people's private lives. However, there's no guarantee that this will always be the case. For instance, here's a feed showing a man in his house. It is disturbing as this can lead to all forms of concerns for the homeowner. They also state that you can remove your camera feed by emailing them your concerns. While this will remove the feed from Insecam, it could still be visible to other people scraping the internet for camera feeds. Another fact that helps the owners is that the locations of the cameras are not exact, but an estimate. Anyone looking at your camera cannot get the physical address. What they get is the address provided by the internet service providers. However, all these still pose a challenge. Leaving your camera or any other device that has internet access without a password is not only harmful to your privacy, it can be hijacked by malicious individuals to attack any other device in the world. Imagine getting control over 1 million cameras and directing them to crash a website's traffic. Insecam says it is raising awareness about security, but you can't help but worry about all the disturbing things that could happen if these things get in the wrong hands. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you for a small favor. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. Our 100K special surprise was revealed, and we had many positive responses from you. Our next goal is to hit 200K before the year ends. It feels impossible, but hey, it's free to dream, right? Also, there's a hidden word somewhere in this video for you. Let's see if you can find it. Now, back to the video. October 2022, Twitch streamer Adriana Chechik joined other content creators at TwitchCon for some days of fun. TwitchCon is a semi-annual convention that brings people together in the live streaming, entertainment, and esports communities. It's a huge event for streamers and usually a source of many viral moments, from unbelievable controversies and dramas to significant announcements and revelations. TwitchCon is like the Super Bowl and NFL draft rolled into one. It has all the major showcases, as well as the networking, scouting, and career-making opportunities. With all the well-known streamers and hundreds or thousands of others in one place, you can't really rule anything out. However, the 2022 edition became popular for something else, something far more disturbing. TwitchCon operates like a gaming convention, where companies have booths with activities that attract participants. It's not uncommon to get unique gifts and branded items, but they're mostly side attractions to ensure participants have as much fun as possible. At least, that was what Adriana thought when she came across a foam booth built by Intel and Lenovo. The booth was surrounded by a transparent glass wall that allowed viewers to catch all the action, and two raised platforms surrounded by foam. Someone would stand on each of the platforms equipped with a long, soft rod. The two participants would nudge each other with the rod as they try to remove the other person from the raised height. The game ends when someone falls into the foam pit, and the last person standing on the raised platform emerges the winner. It was supposed to be a fun game, and many TwitchCon attendees were willing to participate. What they didn't know was that this was a poorly built foam pit. Foam pits are supposed to be 5 to 8 feet deep and filled with several layers of foam to cushion people's falls. This one was a disaster. The pit was raised only around 1 foot, and the foams were only 2 to 3 layers. It could still cushion a fall, but there was no way this foam pit could withstand any significant force. Two things remain a mystery. It's not clear why those companies approved this poorly built foam pit. Perhaps they didn't know, or just weren't expecting any to lunge into it. It's also unclear why the tiny build of the pit wasn't obvious as the participants walked in. Perhaps they were just too excited to notice. Things started fine, but the injuries started streaming in after a while. Strangely, the winners were more affected than those falling inside the foam from the contest. One streamer, Lock Vanis, tweeted that she dislocated her knees at the pit. She had just beaten her opponent and was going to celebrate by jumping into the pit. She was anticipating a deeper pit, and her leg position was set for just that. But the floor of the pit was closer than she thought, and ended up dislocating her knees.
Are we ready? On fight. 3, 2, 1, fight!
Oh, a lot of confidence from Orange. The silent killer knew from the beginning how this would go. Congratulations.
However, her knee injury wasn't the biggest one from the convention. Streamer Adriana Chechik was also in the mood for a little friendly competition. She signed up for the tussle and displaced her opponent from the stage with relative ease. She was understandably happy and was going to follow it with a celebration when disaster struck. Adriana jumped up with her legs apart and higher than her hips, before landing on her backside. Like everyone, she thought the foams were adequately stacked to soften her fall, but she had never been more wrong. You could see the discomfort immediately, as the realization set in for her. Sadly, while the streamer was in so much pain and needed help,
Big sense of her own. Great victory there. I can't get out. Are you okay?
the announcers and others around didn't understand the severity of her discomfort. It felt like they were making fun of her for a while.
Pitbull medic.
Gravity.
No, she's fine.
Alright, make sure she's okay. Get her out of the pit.
Landed on her tailbone.
Yeah.
Now she lives in the pit now, kind of thing.
As some people tried to get her out, she announced what had happened on her X account, saying, Well, I broke my back in 2 places and am getting surgery to put a meter rod in for support today. Send your support. When it rains, it pours, and I am definitely feeling the rain right now. After the surgery, she tweeted again explaining that the procedures took 5.5 hours. She revealed that her bones were completely crushed and her bladder experienced nerve damage. The surgeons ended up doing more fusions than expected, and Adriana would not be able to urinate on her own for some time. She also granted an interview where she stated that her bones didn't break, they shattered. She was able to walk after a day with some assistance, and has since returned to streaming.
Oh, thank you. You come through with amazing grace and poised humor. This week is going to be easy. I speak from experience. Keep a smile. Thank you so much, Frost the Dragon. Thank you for the 100 biddies. Yeah, I'm excited for heavy PT. I'm ready. Like, I want to take my brace off and run. I know I can't because I'll die of...
However, another devastating detail emerged that Adriana was pregnant at the time of the fall, and she lost the baby due to the injuries and the required procedures needed to keep her alive. Many people thought she should be able to sue TwitchCon and the organizers of the booth, but there has not been any such action. Some say the participants signed a waiver that said the organizers wouldn't be legally liable if any harm came to the participants. Others say she should still be able to hold them responsible for gross negligence. Perhaps they've settled things behind the scenes. We may never know, but the incident remains one of the most disturbing things online. Nicolae New was a twin born in 1969 to Romanian parents. The political atmosphere in the country was tense, and Nicolae and his family didn't find it easy. They were denied basic things like school and had to lie to authorities for most of their lives. Eventually, the family escaped the country and settled in the United States. On September 17, 2022, Nicolae and a couple of friends decided to have a good time at the local river. They went along with their tubes and floated on the river while drinking beer. There was not a thing in the world to worry about, until one of them wanted to check something on his phone, only to discover that he had lost it. They looked all around, but the phone was nowhere to be found. They thought it must have fallen somewhere in the river, and Nicolae volunteered to help with the search. Nicolae always loved to help. Those who were close to him told stories of how he helped all his neighbors to fix their houses. Even after he underwent surgery for a condition, he could not sit around to rest for long. He's always eager to get on his feet and help. Simply put, he was a decent guy. As they were looking for the phone, Nicolae announced that he had brought his goggles and snorkel and could swim for a while to search for the phone. They agreed, and he went searching. Unfortunately, the search will take a while without any luck. He continued swimming until he came across a group of teenagers who were also floating and drinking. Nicolae thought one of the teens could have the phone and stormed amidst them to continue his search for the phone. The teens were not impressed by this man who was acting strange among them without saying a word. At first they told him to leave, but Nicolae was convinced that his friend's phone was with them. He continued searching without minding them. Now the teenagers thought he was weird and started poking fun at him. Weirdly, Nicolae never explained why he was there and what he wanted. He just concentrated on searching without any success. More people heard the chaos and joined the group and Nicolae.
What is he on? Whoa! 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 Get away! Oh God! We up! We up! What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? What? Get away from us! What? What's going on with y'all homie? He's on camera. Tripping. He's on 4K. Yo, the new iPhone got that good quality. What did you say?
In a bid to get the new people to their corner against this awkward man, one of the teens came up with an allegation to discredit Nicolae. He announced that Nicolae was looking for small girls. The others quickly echoed the same allegation, and people who were joining ganged up with them to challenge Nicolae, who looked nervous by now. Suddenly,
Who is that? What is the culture? Who is that? Who the hell is this? Go. It doesn't matter. He said he was looking for little girl. He said he was looking for little girl. You're looking for little girl? Yeah. That's exactly what he said. We're not us out. I even have that part on camera. What the hell is this guy's problem, bro? We trying to have fun.
He found himself surrounded by the teenagers, and according to his statements, he feared for his life. Things were heating up, and he knew he was at a disadvantage. So he reached into his pocket and brought out a knife. Like we mentioned, Nikolay loved to help people, and this was a pocket knife he had brought along just in case someone needed it. The knife was in his hand, but none of the teenagers noticed it as they continued taunting him. Nikolay tried leaving at this point, but it was too late. They figured he was trying to escape and cornered him whenever he tried. In the middle of the scuffle, the teens claimed that Nikolay slapped or hit one of the girls among them, although he denied it. They responded by shoving Nikolay into the river, unaware of the little implement he was holding. As he attempted to stand up from the river, one of the teens slapped him. And they continued to push him into the water so he couldn't stand up. One of the teens, 17-year-old Isaac Schumann, also tried to push Nikolay, but he responded by using the knife on him in the stomach. The others did not realize what had happened and continued to shove Nikolay. He weaved the knife around a few more times and caught a couple of them in the hand. Nobody realizes this until they notice blood in the river. As they tried to figure out where the blood was coming from, Nikolay took his change and slipped out of the area. He threw away the kitchen knife and joined his friends on the other side of the river. Strangely, he didn't tell them what had happened. Even when they inquired what kept him long, he dismissed it without offering any explanation. So they resumed floating and drinking like nothing happened. Meanwhile, the teenagers called 911, and the police arrived to learn about a middle-aged man who went on a stabbing spree. The kids described Nikolay, and the police arrested him on the river. Unfortunately, Isaac could not recover from the knife attack by Nikolay. As the police interrogated him, he messed things up further by telling lies about the events of the day. He was unaware the altercation had been recorded on some people's phones. Rather than ask for a lawyer and let a professional help with his defense, he told the police that it was self-defense. He claimed two of the teens brought out knives, which he retrieved before stabbing one of them.
So a lot of people, they came on to me, self-defense, and they produced two weapons. One I took from them. And I don't know who that kid was, but he had a knife on him. And then there was another knife, a longer knife, looked like a kitchen knife. When the kid attacked me, I took that from him. As soon as he came with the knife, I grabbed the knife from him. And what I did then, I grabbed and twisted his arm and poked him with his own knife. Then I took it from him and I started swinging.
This did not help his case. The court saw that he lied in his statements and couldn't believe the rest of his story. He was found guilty of first-degree reckless homicide and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Selene Delgado Lopez is the name of a supposed missing woman who appeared on a Mexican television station for many years. The subject has grown into an urban legend, involving various strange occurrences and stories. But first, a look at how this started. Servicio a la Comunidad was a television program that aired from the early 1980s to 2018. The name of the program, which is in Spanish, translates literally to community service, and it gives a glimpse into what the program is about. It was a segment broadcast created by Mexican broadcasting company Televisa and was televised on the network's Channel 5 or Canal 5. Servicio a la Comunidad was dedicated to helping people locate their missing relatives. Families send in photos and information of missing people, which will be displayed briefly on the program to assist people with any information to locate the missing persons. By 2001, they began to reveal in-depth information about the missing persons. Before, it was just their full name, photos, and background data. but they realized adding more details, such as who they were, what they did, the locations they were last seen, and other information would be helpful. Helped by putting out more information, some cases got solved, and the names and photos disappeared from the broadcast. However, one name remained on the list for many years. Selene Delgado Lopez. Canal 5 showed multiple photos of the lost individuals, but Selene had the same one for years. Additionally, she didn't get more information like the others. It was the same basic information that had been attached to her photo, that she disappeared in Mexico City at the age of 18.
Pedimos ayuda para localizar a Selene Delgado López, de 18 años, se extravió el 22 de abril en la delegación Álvaro Obregón. Selene Delgado López se ignora su paradero desde el 28 de mayo del año 2000.
Something felt off about Selene. People started paying more attention to her, and the theories began to show up. One of the popular beliefs was that Selene was not a real person. The believers of this theory say this was why the channel couldn't show another picture of her, or give more background details. They showed multiple pictures for most of the missing persons, but Selene had just one image that appeared for years. Even that photograph, a grainy basic black and white image, critics said it looked generic, and must have been a generated image. Over the years, many pictures have been shared online to demonstrate the similarities. These people also say the similar ones were used for the image generation, which would explain why Selene Delgado's image had no standout feature. Others say Televisa has picked each part of the face from a different photo. A photo of Derek Todd Lee, the Baton Rouge Slayer, began making rounds online alongside Selene's photo. That's because Derek's photo was a composite assembled from different parts. Many said the same thing had been used for Selene Delgado. Derek's photograph also had similarities to Selene, sparking rumors that it was one of the templates used. As computers advanced and more information became accessible in the 2000s, we could get more information about some missing persons. Maybe not much, but you could see their filings from when they went missing. For Selene, there were no public records of anyone by that name going missing. But why would Televisa be showing the image of someone who didn't exist as missing to the public? Perhaps it was one of the images added to beef up the minutes of the segment. It was also possible that they added an easily recognizable photo to warn their younger viewers to stay switched up and be careful. The theory may also be nonsense. Most people do not have standout facial features, and their photos could appear generic over time. At the time, sophisticated cameras weren't available, which would explain the poor quality image that was made available. Also, there were over 250,000 people in Mexico at the time. With the unavailability of reliable record-keeping equipment like we have now, perhaps the record got lost, or maybe it was never filed. The Selene Delgado story gained more publicity recently when someone found something strange on Facebook. An account with the name Selene Delgado Lopez popped up out of nowhere. The profile picture looked like an enhanced version of Selene's photo on Canal 5, but that wasn't the strangest part. Everyone who checked the profile realized they were already friends with the account, and there was no way to unfriend the person. The account got thousands of shares and messages from curious people. News spread that Selene may be real, and had come to haunt people through Facebook. That was the story for a while, but it's not true. The woman was someone else with the same name. She clarified that she had never been missing. It turned out she wasn't friends with everyone. People thought they were friends with her because she hid the option to add her as a friend through the privacy settings. Canal 5 also stirred controversies when their X page began posting disturbing clips around 3 a.m. every day and deleting them some hours later. One of their videos was captioned Selene. The channel is obviously aware of the legend surrounding the name and how much traffic it could generate for their page. Well, it worked, and they got trending for a day or two. If the channel was capable of this, maybe they could have generated Selene's photo too.
Time for lunch, munch, munch. Time for a munch, crunch, crunch, munch, munch, crunch, crunch, munch, munch, crunch.
Selene Delgado's story remains a mystery, with no one able to confirm if she was a real person who went missing, or a digital concoction by Canal 5. On March 24, 2022, Tyre Sampson was at the Icon Park to try out one of the rides. There's been some buzz about it, and every kid wanted to find out what it was about. Tyre was a 14-year-old boy from St. Louis, Missouri. He was an exceptional kid who wanted to play football. He was in Orlando with his friends for a football program. The Orlando Freefall ride at Icon Park in Orlando, Florida, was the tallest freestanding drop tower when it opened to the public. Standing tall at 430 feet, it has a round vehicle containing the seats and riders. The vehicle rotates as it travels up the platform, lifting the passengers up as they get a beautiful view of the surrounding Orlando, Florida. With every inch of movement and every second, the adrenaline builds. At the top, the seats tilt forward 30 degrees. The vehicle is released and the excitement builds. It plummets at 75 miles per hour. The automatic magnetic brakes come into play around 100 feet above the ground, and it descends slowly for the passengers to get off. Each person walks away recounting how heavenly the experience felt. The free fall at Icon Park was manufactured by a renowned Austria-based company, Funtime Rides, and operated by the Slingshot Group. Unfortunately, there had been incidents at Icon Park involving the rides under Slingshot's management. A maintenance worker lost his life in September 2020 after falling 200 feet from the Starflyer in Orlando. He was performing a routine safety check when he lost his grip and fell 200 feet to his end. In March 2021, 2 teenagers were trapped on the Slingshot ride at Old Town Theme Park in Kissimmee, Florida, for hours after a non-load-bearing cable snapped. It required the joint efforts of the Osceola County Fire Rescue and the Kissimmee Fire Department before the teens could be rescued without any casualties. By March 2022, the free fall ride had been in operation for 3 months. Opening in December 2021, on the 24th, Tyre joined a host of others who wanted to see and experience the latest ride around. However, unlike the other kids, Tyre was a big boy, weighing 340 pounds. He had already been refused entry at 2 other rides at the park. When it was his turn to mount the freefall ride around 11:30 p.m., the harness on the ride wouldn't fit Tyre. He was disappointed. But the operator in charge of the ride that day assured him he could still join the ride. The operator adjusted the harness to create more space in between it and the seat. While it was allowed in some cases, this individual was a new operator who wasn't aware that the ride also had a weight limit. Tyre weighed over the limit, but there was an additional challenge. The manual adjustment created too much space on the restraint, allowing room for someone to slip off. Tyre was happy he had gotten on the ride, but he was still uncomfortable in the seat, and the restraint wasn't helping either. The freefall ride ascended over 400 feet into the sky. It became steady for a while before returning to the ground. On its way down, the magnets were activated to slow down the ride and bring it back to the starting position. That was when people noticed an empty seat that wasn't there at the start of the ride. It was Tyre's seat. He had slipped in between the extra space and fallen to the ground. The operators and others rushed to help Tyre, but it was too late. Emergency services arrived at the scene to transport him to the hospital. Sadly, all their best efforts weren't enough to revive the 14-year-old. The ride was shut down, and officials were sent to the scene for investigation. Their findings showed that the drop tower seat and harness were in place. A video also emerged that shows operators and management confirming that the restraint was correctly locked. The ride was designed to detect improper restraints, and could not be started if all the restraints weren't locked properly. On the seats was an indicator light that displayed green for the operators to proceed if everything was in place, while the indicator gave the operators a go-ahead before the accident. Experts say the manual adjustment must have overridden the warning, leading to the tragic accident. According to the operating manual, crew members in charge of the ride should not rely on the automatic indicators alone. They must also check all the harnesses manually before starting the ride. The accident may have been averted if this had been done instead of just relying on the light. It's also thought that Tyre's weight being over the allowed maximum of 286 pounds added to the issues that caused the fall. Experts also add that a seatbelt should have been added to the ride to support the harness, but the manufacturers assured that the harness system had 2 independent locks that were enough to keep riders in place if the rules were followed. On October 6, 2022, Icon Park announced that it was closing down the ride permanently, and the structure was removed 1 year after the incident. After a thorough investigation, an Orange County jury awarded Tyre's family $310 million in damages in December 2024. Obdulia Sanchez was an 18-year-old Stockton, California teen when she ended the life of a very close relative in an unsettling fashion. Born in 1999, she was the daughter of Nicandro and Gloria Sanchez, alongside 3 siblings, Jacqueline, Eveline, and Nicandro Jr. Obdulia's childhood was pretty traumatic. She went through some disturbing experiences that many believed contributed to the incident we're narrating in this video. At the age of 11, Obdulia was abused, and 2 years later, she was abducted and tortured. She was also a victim of human trafficking, with the perpetrators forcing her to abuse alcohol. This agonizing experience left long-term adverse effects on her. Obdulia became dependent on alcohol, unable to break free of the shackles for many years. In July 2017, Obdulia was a fresh graduate from high school. It was also the end of her 2-year stay under Child Protective Services. Obdulia's sister, 14-year-old Jacqueline, had just finished 10th grade and was preparing for junior year. Jacqueline loved traveling. She wanted to act and sing while touring the world. Relatives and friends thought she was more than capable of achieving this dream. They described her as bright and brave. Jacqueline had a girlfriend, Manuela Seja, whom she met on Instagram. The two had been dating for 7 months, and Jacqueline's 15th birthday was approaching, so Manuela was visiting her girlfriend and the family for the weekend. Jacqueline enlisted the company of her sister Obdulia, and the siblings drove from Stockton to Fresno to pick up Manuela. Around 6:40 p.m., Jacqueline and Manuela were in the back of the car as Obdulia drove on the Los Banos highway in California. They were not using their seatbelts. Obdulia was live streaming and vibing along with the music from the car's radio. She got carried away at one point and removed her hands from the steering wheel. Suddenly, the car veered off the road. When Obdulia attempted to bring it back under control, the car swerved violently across lanes, turning upside down and crashing through the nearby fence into the fields. The Instagram live streaming was still on, and you could hear screams. Jacqueline and Manuela had been thrown away from the back seat. A moment later, Obdulia makes her way out of the vehicle and picks up her phone to show her sister to the stream. It was a bad idea and a difficult watch for the viewers. Jacqueline's body was in a very bad shape on the grass when she nonchalantly showed her to the world. Her statements were also bizarre, as she continued to show the gory scene.
Buddy, if I go to tonight, you already know why. My sister is dying. Look, fuck my sister to death. I don't give a man, we about to die. This is the last thing I wanted to happen to us, but it just did. Jacqueline, please wake up. Sister. I with my sister, okay? I know I'm going to jail for life, alright? I understand that.
Emergency services arrived some minutes later, and they pronounced Jacqueline dead on the scene. Manuela had leg injuries, while Obdulia suffered chest pain. The police attempted to take Obdulia into custody, but she was non-cooperative, so she was detained after suspicions of driving under the influence.
This is the last thing I wanted to happen, okay? Alright? I don't care, yo. I'm gonna hold it down. I love you. Rest in peace, sweetie. If you don't survive, baby, I'm sorry.
They also found another video she posted on Instagram, where she could be seen driving recklessly before the accident. The video showed that she wasn't focused on driving and almost hit a minivan as a result. Jacqueline was sitting on the front passenger seat at the time, and you could hear her as she yelled, "You're going to kill me." Unfortunately, that was what she did in the end. The video quickly became viral, with over 700,000 views. It was uploaded on other social media platforms until it got to Obdulia's other sister, 12-year-old Eveline Sanchez. The family was shattered to find out what had happened, but they stood with Obdulia. They thought it wasn't her fault and wanted her to be set free. However, blood sample analysis revealed that she had drunk too much and used other illegal substances. She was charged with vehicular manslaughter, child endangerment, and DUI. She pleaded not guilty before changing her plea to no contest. She said the intention behind taking the video was to help her family generate funds from her 5,000 followers to give her sister a decent burial. The court sentenced Abdulia to 6 years and 4 months in prison. She was released on parole in 2019 for good behavior after serving 2 years of her sentence. However, she got into more trouble around a month later. She drove a car with expired papers. When police tried to stop her, she took off, leading to a police chase. She ended up running a red light and 2 stop signs before being caught. They also found a loaded firearm in the vehicle. She was charged to court, where she seemed like someone who didn't care. Her father stood by her and said that she needed help, not more prison time. He added that she also needed treatment after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Her bail was set at $300,000, but it's not clear how the case went. On that grim note, we come to the end of this episode. If you've had a good time, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We upload videos like these almost every day, so you don't want to miss out. If you don't want to wait till the next video, there will be more videos on your screen in about 3 seconds. I'll see you there. I'm out.